We might be from Bariga, a dirty, poor community, but we are ready to take over the world.
Music made in Eswatini, while Symphony strikes the right notes, an award-winning musician. We meet the country's youngest designer making traditional regalia.
I like making people happy because when they're going there, they look beautiful and I'm like, yeah, that's my hand's work.
Why did Eswatini change its name from Swaziland? Well, we hear from the people and we meet a prince.
ShopRite has always been here for you, and we're committed to bringing you the best value. Get more for less with our Essentials combo. That includes 10 kilos Rice King rice, 3 kilos Polana pasta elbows, 10 kilos Top Score maize meal, 10 kilos Buck Pro Fed Cooked flour mix, and 10 kilos Sugar King white or brown sugar. All for $530. Save $66. Only at ShopRite.
Morning, Namibia. Morning, grade 4s and 5s. My name is Teacher Kennedy. Welcome to my Zone Online School. With me here is Chanel. Before we get into our lesson, let's start by sanitizing. Chanel, let's sanitize. Let's rub outside and in between fingers. Right, today's lesson is on plurals. Okay, boys and girls, let's turn our booklets to page 3, where we are talking about plurals and plural rules. But before we get in deeper into our lesson, let's talk about the competencies. At the end of the lesson, learners should be able to identify and use different types of nouns in plural forms. Yes, by the end of this lesson, I hope everyone will be able to identify, whenever you are reading, be able to identify nouns and be able to change them or use them in their plural forms, various plural forms. Remember last time we talked about 6 rules that are to be followed when we are changing nouns to their plural forms. And we said plural, we are talking about many things. When we are talking about singular, we are talking about only one. The rule number 1 that we talked about is that most of the nouns, they simply add an S when we are talking about them in many, as there are many, or in their plural form. Number 2, if the word ends in CH, SH, SS or double S, S or X, we add an ES when we are pluralizing. Number 3, if the word ends with a vowel and a Y, we add an S. If the word ends in an O, we add ES. Some words ending in an O, we add S in their plural form. There are also other nouns that end with double O. We simply add an S. Let's turn our books to page 4. That's where we are having today's lesson. There we are having 3 new rules for pluralizing nouns. We'll continue from where we left. Rule number 7. What does it say? If a word ends in a Y, we take away the Y and add IES. In other words, I can throw away the Y, forget about the Y, and replace the Y with IES. For example, country. Country is a noun and is ending with a Y. When there are more than 1 countries, I remove the Y. I replace the Y with IES to become countries. Story. Stories. That's rule number 7. Throw away the Y. Replace with IES. Let's go to rule number 8. If a word ends in F, we take away the F and add VES. Take away, the way you take away the Y. If the word is ending with an F, remove. Throw away the F, but replace it with the VES. Let's look at the examples. Example number 1 is the wolf. It's ending with F. When there are many wolves, we have replaced the F. F is no longer there. We replaced it with VES. Calf, calves. Remember this. There are also irregular plurals that do not follow the rules. Some nouns do not follow these rules, these 9 rules. For example, tooth, it changes completely to teeth. Man, with MAN, will change completely to MEN, men. Foot, feet. Child, children. Guys, let's remember these rules are very important. Remember, our basic competence is to be able to change nouns and follow the rules, turn them into their plural forms. Let's turn our books to page 5, where we have our activities. Let's start with activity number 1. Fill in the plural form of each of these nouns by following one of the first 6 rules. You can see that there are different nouns ending with different letters there, meaning to say you need to consider the first 6 rules that we talked about. For example, number 1, we are given an example there. An apple, 1 apple, many apples. We added an S there. House, houses. Then we will do the rest. We've got fish, man, family, hand, bus, tooth, dictionary, monkey. If you've forgotten, you have to refer to the first 6 rules. B, write the following sentences into plural. Remember one thing, is. But many things, one thing, you say is. Many things, we say are. For example, I draw a picture on a paper. We drew pictures on papers. So the word that we have changed to its plural form is paper, to papers, by adding S. Number one is saying, there is a child in front of the tree. How are you going to change that sentence and write the nouns into their plural forms? The noun that we are having there is tree and child. If I were you, I was going to say, there are children in front of the trees. So you do the rest. Number 2 is saying, I am your best friend. How do you pluralize that one? There is a pen under the book. The first thing is to identify the nouns and be able to change them into their plural forms. Let's continue to page 6. Activity number 2. Activity number 2. Write the plural form of each word under the pictures. Draw a picture of each plural word on the correct carpet so that it matches the correct rule. We are given pictures there, but your task is to write in the plural form. The first picture is, what is that thing that is being shown on the first picture? It's a mouse. Very correct. When there are many, it's mice. Number 2, I'm seeing a sheep. So it's your task, your assignment, to write the plurals of the pictures shown on page 6, activity 2. You have to continue with the pictures that are shown there and follow the instructions. Let's continue. Activity number 3 on page 7. Activity number 3 on page 7. Search for the hidden words and color them in. You are given some guidelines there. The words are below. Girls, heads, stars, buses, boys, moose, mice, babies. You have to look for these words. They are there. For example, in the first column, I am seeing the word boys, the noun boys. I can color that one. So do the same until you finish all the nouns given below. Page 8, activity number 4, words ending in Y, take away the Y and add IES. It's a matter of repetition. The Y rule, where you throw away the Y, replace with IES. Words ending in F or FE, take away the F or FE and replace or add VES. Remember that not all words ending in F get VES. There are some who are or who do not follow the rules. Fill in the plural form of each of these pictures by adding the correct rule form of plurals. We have got a baby there, and we are being shown the pictures of 2 babies. So in other words, baby becomes babies. We are following the Y rule, where we are throwing the Y and replace with IES. We are having the thief there, and there are now many. How do you pluralize it? The F or FE rule, where you are throwing the F or FE and replace with the VES. Thank you so very much. I want to believe that we are all following, because I know you are good boys and girls. Okay, boys and girls, let's turn our books to page 5, where we are having an interesting comprehension passage. And this comprehension passage is full with nouns, page number 9. There are nouns that are in singular form and some are in plural form. You will be able to identify them. Okay, I'm going to read in your hearing the passage. The topic is robbing the butchery. Mr. Maber was the best butcher in town. He had tasty loaves of ham and strings of sausages. His best-selling item was the oryx steaks. He cut the steaks in thick slices with his sharp knives. People paid lots of money to get the best meat. One evening, after Mr. Maber had locked his store, 2 thieves broke in and stole all the money he made that day. People were upset and helped the police to look for the thieves. They found them hiding on someone's roof. They were going to use the money to buy nappies for their babies. The butcher agreed to let them clean his shop for a whole month as punishment. He would provide their babies with nappies, but they would not get paid until they had paid off their debts. The thieves believe there is no better man than Mr. Maber, who helped them in hard times. Today, they own their factories and sell scarves with butterflies and the ponies on them. They are also helping the poor to keep warm in winter. They do not steal anymore. That's our story. Is that not interesting? And below our passage, remember what I told you. Read for the first time. Go to the questions and read for the second time. There you will be knowing what you are looking for from the passage. Underline all nouns ending in Y. In the plural form, they end in the IES. In the passage, and write them down there. There are many nouns there ending in Y. And there are also many nouns there that are already pluralized by adding IES. Number 2 is saying, underline all the nouns ending in F. In the plural, they end in VES. Number 3, who was the owner of the butchery? What is sold at a butchery? Which meat was his best seller? What bad thing happened one evening? Where did the people find the thieves? Who uses nappies? What was the thieves' punishment? What do the thieves do now? As I'm asking these questions, the answers are clicking into my head because I've read the passage. So, thank you so very much, boys and girls. It has been a wonderful lesson. We have learned all the rules when it comes to pluralizing nouns. And I want to believe you are now able to identify nouns. You are now able to use nouns in their plural forms, and you are also able to use the rules accordingly. Thank you so very much. We have to meet in the next lessons. But before we go, Chanel, the rule says we should what? Sanitize. Let's sanitize, because we've been touching books, tables, yes, and the chalks. So we need to sanitize. And let's not forget to keep the social distance. At least 1.5 meters apart. Bye-bye for now.
Hi everyone, my name is Shashi. I'm back. And you can always stay active throughout the lockdown. You can play with your friends, but keep your distance. Like me and my friend. Yay! And you can also jog and sing to be active. Until next time, bye!
Win free airtime with hashtag LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. SMS your feedback, name and town to 555. Hashtag LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
The song goes
Benjamin Rosloff expresses himself with music, but when he's not playing the cello, he's making films.
My father bought me my first camera when I was 14 years old. My biggest dream is to be a filmmaker, like a producer or director.
Benjamin has already shown his films at festivals around the world.
The first film that I did, which was a documentary short, was called Can I Call You? It's about me trying to go in a relationship with someone who's non-disabled. Can I call you?
Yes. Ben is indeed a remarkable young man who has been living with autism from birth. He's a 23-year-old living in New York with his parents. Ben is not alone. 1% of the world's population, over 70 million people, is living with autism.
Some would refuse to let autistic people go to regular schools, and parents fight about that.
That's why it's important to see like videos about their lives. Like, even though they're disabled, there's things that they can do.
Benjamin has just landed a job as an intern at New York City's mayor's office for people with disabilities. Ben and his supervisor, Jonathan Novick, produce films to highlight people with disabilities who work for the municipality.
Ben's a lot of things. Ben is positive. Ben is friendly. He brings this very high level of energy and enthusiasm into his work.
I work here as cameraman and editor. I travel with Jonathan Novick, and together we meet like people with different disabilities, and like I do the recording on camera while Jonathan Novick does the interview.
Randy Washington, who's working with Ben, helps keep him focused and on track. Watching films is one of Ben's favorite things in life, and Randy is really impressed with Ben's encyclopedic knowledge.
It's amazing the stuff he remembers from the movies, and he's hardworking. When given a task, wants to complete that task. I guess it would be he's a perfectionist.
Recently, Ben contacted the United Nations and was invited to visit the organization. Today, he's going to interview the Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon. Ben could have never imagined that one day he would have the opportunity to discuss with the UN Secretary General the pressing issues that affect billions of people worldwide.
Last December in Paris, the world leaders came and showed their commitment to keep global temperature rise below 2 degrees, if possible 1.5 degrees. Under this agreement, we can cut emissions.
Among the questions Ben asked, one was very close to his heart.
Why is autism an issue for the United Nations?
Some societies discriminate on or shun people with autism. This is a terrible violation of human rights. The United Nations stands with all people with autism.
Benjamin's resolve to work and produce films is an example to the millions of people with disabilities worldwide. He knows that anything is possible when you dream, and if you work hard, your dreams can come true. This report was produced by Michael Wopatniuk and Flaminia Bondi for the United Nations.
I'm feeling so bad because of I have been arrested. We are trying to sell to provide our kids with food, but the police, they come to arrest us.
I was literally apprehended in Independence Avenue. I mean, there was no prior communications with the police or with Bonn or Bengal Namibia. These guys literally just apprehended us on surprise.
And when you are talking in a manner that is exaggerated about brutality in this country, I should ask you in which country you live.
Yes, I can confirm that indeed there were 2 cell phones that were found after a search was conducted at the cells that the fish rot accused are staying.
Do you understand the amount of money that the government has spent on the fight against COVID-19? Could they have spent 300 million on tracing people and managing people? Is that even possible?
Akili, 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 akili. Let's chase the germs away. Let's chase the germs away by keeping our hands clean. And when you want to sneeze or when you want to cough, do it in your elbow. Let's practice sneezing into your elbow. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Achoo! Again. Achoo! Yay! You did it! Germs, germs, germs. They make us sick. Germs, germs, germs. Germs, germs, germs are not your friend. When you're sick, you sneeze. Achoo! When you're sick, you cough, cough, cough. And if you achoo or cough on your hands, the germs stay alive on your hands and get passed on to your friends, and they'll get sick too. Let's chase the germs away. Let's chase the germs away by keeping our hands clean. And when you want to sneeze or when you want to cough, do it in your elbow. Germs, 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 they make us sick. Germs, germs, germs are not our friends. Germs, 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 they make us sick. Germs, 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 germs are not your friends.
On January 30th, the WHO declares the outbreak a public health emergency of international concern. One day after Valentine's 15th Feb 2020, a man tests positive for the virus in Egypt, the first case on the African continent.